Hi everyone, we are the technology volunteers. We're from the University of Warwick. I'm Arteesha, this is Tom, Andrew, Rob and Stephen. They're making some sensors right now, so we'll explain later what they're doing. So what we do is we go into local schools in our area to teach and introduce Scratch to young children. Our aim is to encourage creative and logical thinking, develop their interests and kind of just have fun. Then we further that by incorporating the use of sensors into our teaching for kind of exploring the areas of science and engineering topics as well. So Andrew?
Thank you. But over the years, what we covered in school has changed dramatically. When we started, Scratch was new. We could go into a school and ask, who's seen Scratch before? And we'd be lucky if a single person put their hand up. It's hard to imagine now. And that made our lives, in a way, quite easy. We could use basic projects, and we could rely on Scratch's novelty to keep the kids entertained. But now it's a different story. As Scratch makes its way into the curriculum, we're facing a class full of Scratch whiz kids, people who know how to use it, and are showing us things we never thought could be done with Scratch. So for us, we've learned the importance of adapting what we do to match those students. We've produced more challenging projects. We've tied in our work with sensors. And we've tried to broaden our project's appeal to students with interests across the whole curriculum. Tom?
That's a good point, really. So Scratch shouldn't just be used in ICT lessons, it should be used across the board in all lessons because you can link together Scratch very well with different subjects. So take for example science. Say you've got some kids that really love Scratch, they really love it, they're really good at it, they really enjoy it. By mixing it in with science that they may not be so great at, you can get them really interested in science as well, and they sort of bring over that enthusiasm for Scratch into the science part of it, and it works the same the way around. You have kids that are really interested in science and you introduce Scratch to them and sort of link it in with science, and they'll bring the enthusiasm they have for science into Scratch. And so basically we saw this and sort of started developing sensors that have elements of science towards them. But again, this idea works equally well with maths, arts, pretty much any subject you can cram it in. So I'm going to hand over to Stephen now, who will talk a bit more about some of the sensors.
Right, thank you, Tom. As our teacher explained earlier, we've been making some sensors. This one is well, you can see it's just made out of junk that everyone will have lying around, coffee stirrers and a margarine container. So as well as actually building it and learning a bit of electronics whilst building it, they can then write Scratch programs. This, for example, is a force sensor. You can mimic a diving board. So then you can build in all sorts of movement equations. Even you could get a cat jumping into a pool and slowing it down when it enters the water, making it splash higher. These are all extra things to help children think, and we're using sensors to do that. This is just a small example. We also set bigger tasks like monitoring plants and things like that. Rob will tell you a bit more about that.
Thanks, Stephen. So, as you can see, the simple sensor that I've put together here is a wind speed sensor, and as well as, obviously, as Stephen alluded to, the science behind it. So there's the science of why it works, and maybe you're learning about the pupils are learning about whether in science or geography. You can also combine it with other sensors. So another extremely simple sensor we have here is just a soil moisture sensor that you can use to find out how much water a plant is getting, and now you can imagine combining that with a wind speed sensor, and maybe you're monitoring the health of a plant over an afternoon or something, seeing how much water and wind it gets, and you can do a lot of serious science topics even with these relatively simple, silly sensors.
Thank you. So the big take-home message for us today is really that it's very important for us all as educators and us as volunteers to encourage students to be consumers of technology, creators of technology rather than just consumers of technology. And by doing that, we can help improve their learning experience and make it fun. We're running a workshop later today on our silly our serious sensors with serious science with silly sensors. We're running that later today. So you can come along, and if not, we're around for any questions. Thank you very much.